Okay, here we go. Here's our problem up on the board. And so what's going to happen is we're looking for inverse, okay? So this function is going to be our inverse. And what we're going to do, and this is going to tell you how to find that inverse. Now, when you multiply a times a1, a to the negative 1, which is your inverse, you're going to get a quadrant of 1, 0, 0, 1, okay? All right? Okay, so that's going to be important for you to know at some point, okay? So that's what your answer is going to be. It's going to equal that when you do the work. So now, let's think about it. A and D, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip D and A, and then we're going to change the signs of C and B. We're not going to switch them, we're just changing the signs. And they are all over fractions over the determinant. So when you're doing this, you're always going to find the determinant. That will be the base of the fraction as you switch A and D and negate B and C. So switch A and D and negate B and C. So let's practice here. A negative 1 is what we're looking for. So we're going to put our fraction bars in. So we know we're going to have a fraction. Negative 4 and 2, negative 5 and 1. Now we need the bottom of the fraction. Well, how do we find the bottom of the fraction? Let's find our determinant. Negative 8 minus a minus 5, which is... So if I negate that, or I put that into a fraction, I just take my negative 3 and I put it in. Negative 3, negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. So my final answer is going to be a positive 4/3, a positive 5/3, a negative 1/3, and a negative 2/3. And that would be the inverse function. Okay? All right, any questions on that? So that's how you do the inverse function. This is pretty straightforward kind of work here. All right? All right, so let's do another one. Okay, so A equals 6, negative 9, negative 18, 27. Okay? So one of the things that I would recommend you do is check to see if the determinant becomes 0. Because if the determinant goes to 0, it automatically does what? It automatically makes this not work, and there's not undefined. There won't be an inverse. So 6 times 27 is going to be 162, and 9. So minus and a minus becomes a positive negative. So that's 162. So therefore, this does not have a function that does not work, and you're done right there. So I would suggest always doing your determinant first, because if your determinant goes to 0, you're done with that problem. All right. Okay, any questions there? Okay, now, let's look at example number 3. We want to solve this. Now, another way to solve this is using the other method that we showed you. Okay, and that method is this way. 2 over 3, 1 over 4. Okay. And what you need to do is you need to add 1, 0, 0, 1. And we'll just put a line through there, okay? Now what? What we want to do is we can work this around. So if I do 2R1, I'm going to be left with 4, 2, 2, and 0. And I'm left with 3, 4, 0, 1. Now what? And the goal, ultimately, what's our goal? Our ultimate goal is to get it to disappear, right? Okay? So we need to get these 1s and 2s over here to be looked that way. So we're just trying to invert these two to here and the other numbers to there. That's how we work this problem. So our next step is going to be what? I'm going to subtract R2 from R1, okay? So subtract R2 from R1, and what is that going to do for me? It makes it so I have a 1 up here, right? All right, 4 minus 1, right? So 1, negative 2, 2, negative 1, and then 3, 4, 0, 1. All right, so far we're on the right path. Now what? So what I got to do next is I got to get this to be 0, right? Do you agree with me? Because the whole goal is to get these 4 to look like these 4, right? So I got to get this to become 0. Well, how do I do that? 3R. Okay, so I don't know what happened middle of my last text video. It just disappeared. So we'll pick up where we left off here. We're starting this problem. We multiply by 2 through the top, and that gives us to this bar. And the goal is to get 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 to this side of the line and vice versa. So the next step is we're going to do minus R2, which is this one, plus R1, move them together. All right? So now, what does that mean? Here's what it means. So we keep moving through this, and that's what our goal is. And so what you'll see here, next step, we do negative 3R1 plus R2. That's going to get rid of this and make it a 0. So now we have 1 and 0 in the right spot. We need to get these next two in that spot. So now what do? Okay, we move it across, and then we come down here, get rid of the 10. So we do 1/10. Divides, gives us a 1. So now we got 3 out of 4. Last thing, we got to do this one, 2 times the bottom one minus the top one to get rid of this one, and you're left with this. Do the math work, and you're left with this is your fractions. Take a peek at that. I'm sorry it didn't work out that way. See how it goes. We'll answer questions in class, but that's how you would solve that problem.